dark before we go to work. I know it will lift in 15 minutes, but there is something that going to work in the dark does to my brain. I don't like it. Here, fortunately, we don't finish to the dark. It just reminds me of the winter grind and why I hated it so much. I hated the winter because you went to work in the dark and you came back in the dark. It was just horrific. I know this period doesn't even last long and it's not cold, really, but still. It just takes me back to past trauma. Anyway, this video is for the ascenders. It's for the group of people who have decided that we are going to get better against all odds, that we refuse to stay in what has become a status quo, that we will not accept just where our jobs get us, that we are determined to do more. That's the group of people that I am addressing this morning, the ascenders. I have been addressing you all month, and today I want to talk to you about one very important factor on this journey: bravado. To ascend, you must be brave. And to be brave, there are certain things that you need to understand. One of the reasons why a lot of us are cowards is because we overthink, we overprocess, we overemphasize things that don't really need emphasis. We do. We overrate things in their importance. And when you do that, it scares the living lights out of you. Of course it scares you. Hi Randall. Yeah, Ketri. Good morning. You overemphasize things. You give things unnecessary importance. And when you do that, you quake in your shoes and you get paralyzed. It's called analysis paralysis, really. You could overanalyze, and after overanalyzing, you will paralyze yourself by some of the things that you yourself will generate from your analysis. Yeah. Being brave requires throwing some of those to the wind. It does. Being brave says, okay, I see it, I hear it. I'm going to lose money, but okay. It's going to cost me some time, but okay. I've recorded a video I didn't initially intend to post, but now that I am having this conversation with you, I will post that when I get home. Good morning, Andrew. Let's say. I will post because I think it's necessary to post. In order for you to make any win, you must be prepared to make a loss. I was explaining in that video. Those who win the lottery, they need to lose their lottery ticket first. When you buy your lottery tickets, there is no guarantee you are about to win nothing. When you pay your school fees, there is no guarantee you are about to get a job. My family and I are sitting on the cusp. We have just paid for a degree for one of our kids. And yeah, he is right now staring at the possibility of not getting, well, he hasn't got a job yet. You know, having a degree alone is not enough to say that you are transitioning straight into a job. There are certain factors that need to align for you to get the job and for you to launch, actually. So when you first get on the degree and you pay, we have paid the school fees for the degree, but there is no guarantee of a job. He will need to align some things. He will need to sort himself some interviews. He will need to put himself through a process to get a job. But just getting a degree does not guarantee you a job. And so when you sign up for this very expensive degree, I'm very good, sis. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, Jessica, sis, good morning. We have essentially lost the money we have paid for his degree. It would only be recouped when he manages to launch a career. When his career proceeds to a certain point, he will recoup and redeem, and at that point we can call it a valuable investment. Right now we don't know. We do not know. I have a friend whose kid finished medical school. All factors happened and he hasn't practiced medicine for a while. Yeah, Lukman, it's been ages. How are you doing? Yeah, they paid for medical school. The kid is not a practicing doctor, and so the money you paid for medical school, ooh, that is intestine churning. Of course it churns your intestines. It's not even my money, but my intestines churn. Of course. Good morning, dear. But the point I'm trying to make is that you must let go of money before you might have a chance of it coming to you. You must be prepared to lose before you can gain. When you buy stocks, there is no guarantee that the stocks you are buying is going to return. You buy the stocks, the money goes. I've bought many insurance policies, many investment plans that have ended up not being exactly what I got. And some of my monies, I've got 2 big policies that I've not actually figured out a return plan on. Plan A might be to let them sit for the 15 years that they are going to sit and see if they might make a return. Or plan B is to just call it a day, lose about $18,000 and redeem the small fraction that I can get. When I think about it, I don't even know which one makes more sense. Should I just let it be? Considering that money has been lost almost a decade ago anyway. But yeah, you must be prepared to lose in order to gain. I've had a lot of you contact me when I said I had just made a partial redemption on a policy of mine. It sounds really glamorous. Well, that policy that I made a partial redemption against is 10 years. It was a 10-year policy. It just matured last month. 10 years of paying $150 in every single month. And I've chosen to actually carry on past its sell-by date. Yeah? $10 of putting $150, $150, yeah. And yeah, at some point, even this one, I wasn't sure about the recoup strategy. You must be willing to lose. You must make do with losing. You must be okay with losing. You've got to let the money go before it will return. That is a thing that I've had to remind myself of in recent years. When the stakes go high, and for me the stakes have never been higher than they are right now. I was explaining in the other video, I'm not afraid for inconvenience. For me, it turns out my own inconvenience doesn't bother me. I've trained myself to inconvenience myself over the years. It doesn't bother me. Who I don't want to inconvenience are the other people who are in my life, my husband and the children. I don't want to. Look, man, start from somewhere. When you start, you may make early wins. Great. If you don't, you just need to refine your strategy and keep trying, keep going. It will succeed if you don't give up. So keep going. Consult other people, learn from their strategies, refine and adapt for yourself, and you will get things to work for you. So get started. Look, man, get started. Don't let the what ifs scare you to become a chicken. The what ifs have scared me for the last few years. As I said, the one thing that has always won that argument and allowed fear to rule me is inconvenience to the children. I was talking to my daughter a few days ago. My daughter looked me in the eye and said, "Mom, if anybody would make it work, it's you. And you've got to take a gamble on yourself. Don't worry about the three of us. We will be okay. We must be okay. You focus on you for a change. You're not focusing on the rest of us." I'm looking at this kid with a few tears in my eye, thinking that we have finally matured to this point, and it's beautiful. Yeah. Stop worrying about all of us and start thinking about you more. It's about time that you became the focus again. And that is actually refreshing for me, because I have been obsessed with not inconveniencing those three. And that is the reason why I have been a coward for such a long time. And sometimes I look at myself in my cowardly state and I get really mad, because I'm not a coward. I was not born a coward. I have been bold since the day I jumped out of the womb. I am bold, I'm decisive. But I have found myself paralyzed, unable to move, unable to act, and it has really frustrated me. And the last maybe 5-6 days, say the last week, the numbers have definitely jumped out of paper to scare me. The numbers don't look good, but the numbers cannot look good. I also know that when the numbers don't look good is when the surprises actually come, the turnarounds come. And I already have some of those potential turnarounds in mind. And that's the reason why I'm teaching myself to empty my bank account and buy a marketing program. Actually, I've never been afraid of doing that. I've done that many times. Empty my bank account and buy a software. I've done it many times. Dennis, empty my bank account. I bought an $11,000 coaching program that I still haven't even managed to turn into anything profitable. I've bought so many assets that I've not managed to turn into profit. And then sometimes years later, something happens and you flip something and you are in redemption. I've learned that. And that's what I'm telling myself, to encourage myself to be brave, to make steps that could potentially win for me big time. You cannot be one of the winners if you are not willing to lose out in the first day. That is a very important fact that is worth sharing, especially to those of you who haven't learned it. You must be willing to lose before you can be in with the chance to gain. When you don't want to lose, you fist your hand. When you fist out, yeah, it secures you what you have inside your fist. But if you've actually tried to fist out, you would know that fisting leaves very little room in your hand to hold anything. Yeah, what you have in there is secure. It will not fall out. But what you have in there is not a lot. What you have in your hand when you fist, when you clench your fist, there is very little space in your clenched fist for you to hold much. If you open your hands out like that, you stand the chance of losing what you had in your fist in the first place. Yeah, it probably will fall out. But if you hold your hand in a place of continuous stream, after a short period, what you lost will be replaced by much more than what you lost. Yeah, you must be willing to open your hand, to lose what was in your clenched fist, to be in with the chance to collect what you can when your palms are open and flexed. That's the simple lesson I want to teach today. Be brave to hold out your hand and let what is in there fall out. give yourself a chance to get in there much more than what was in there in the first place. These are some of the core principles of life that should be taught in kindergarten and primary schools, so that we would all know them early on, but we don't. Sometimes you would I was speaking to somebody who is approaching 60 this weekend, and these things came up in the conversation, and as I said a few things, the person says, whoa, say that again, I've never heard that my entire life. And I was honored to be the first to share this insight, but I was also devastated to know that at almost 60, this person has gone through life without knowing this. To go through life without knowing this means that you would have lived a life of limits. You would be controlled by fear. And when you are controlled by fear, you don't act. You don't act. You self-sabotage. You do. You limit yourself because you think you are playing it safe. Playing it safe may limit your losses, but it also reduces your wins overall. Life is for the brave, sometimes for the crazy. Those who are willing to stake it all are in the game to win it all. If you are willing to stake it all, you can be in with the chance to win it all. When they win it all, it's beautiful. We all report back on it. I like reading people's biographies and autobiographies, especially those of people who have now made it. And I like to draw parallels so I can see commonalities in order to frame the choices that I've got to make. And after reading so many biographies and autobiographies, I realized a few things that I want to share with you today in the closing segments of this video. Most of the people, so I've told you Paul O'Mahony and his story of being down to less than his last 1,000 euros on his credit card, him using that to invest in a course and sleeping on a family member's couch. Yeah, well, that course he did led to what is now called Rethink Academy, and I have been in many Rethink Academy programs where Paul has hosted some of the icons. I have listened to Les Brown on Paul O'Mahony's ticket. Yeah, by taking the chance he did. I can't remember who it was that also went to the US from Europe. He went to the US and he went to meet this coach. This coach was like about $4,000 a night or something a day. And this person booked their flights, traveled, booked the hotel, and went into this 2-day consultation with this guru. And by the time they finished that consultation, the guru had handed them the blueprint that they then executed to make the business that they now have, which is very successful. Yeah. There are many people who have documented taking their credit cards to go and invest in things. There are some who quit lucrative jobs on the Wall Street to start Amazon in their garage. You have to be willing to be the laughing stock. Can you imagine when Jeff Bezos left Wall Street to go be an entrepreneur in his garage? Can you imagine the joke he was to the people he worked with on the Wall Street? Look at this idiot. He's just jacked in this very successful career, and look at what he's done to himself. Oh, how foolish. Yeah, you must be willing to make a fool of yourself temporarily in order to be vindicated later. Look, man, You must be willing to be the brunt of the joke temporarily. And you don't even know how temporary that would be when you first start. Judith Alice, you must be willing to put yourself in situations that even you yourself may find funny, in order for you to get some of the crazy stories that people will then tell later. Yeah. When I upped sticks from the United Kingdom to come here, a lot of people told me to my face that I was mad. And in the time that I have been here, some of those people have now joined me in the madness. Those who haven't joined me and want to be sincere will tell me, well, we did not quite understand what that was about at that time. You must be willing to do that which is not understandable in order to make some big calculated wins. I know there are no guarantees when you first set out on this journey, and that's the reason why it is a journey only a few brave, crazy ones take. There are no guarantees. Most of us want retainers. There are no retainers. You either jump in with both feet or you stay on the safety of the bank. You remain on the dry, safe bank, or you jump into the river and you swim. The thing with jumping in the river is that when you jump in with the river, you are moving. Sometimes the rapids in the river will carry you so fast, bash you against the rocks. But yeah, nobody likes the rapids, but that is where acceleration lives. The water will bash you, but the water will take you fast. It will take you quickly. Obviously, when you arrive at destination, it is very attractive. When you are in the rapids, when you are being bashed against the rocks, it is not fun, is it? But yeah, there's so many analogies of how life works, which is why it should be obvious to all of us. Sadly, it's not. So I've seen people who go rapid riding. You jump in with your eyes closed, you don't look, and you jump. And once you jump, you open your eye very quickly because you've got to see where you are landing, so you know how to adjust your landing and the rest of it. Yeah. But it requires a few moments of blindness, and then you jump. Yeah. The euphoria, though, unimaginable when you do it. Especially when you get yourself back out onto safe ground and you have the woo-hoo, what the hell just happened moment. Yeah. And you probably will spend foreseeable future telling the generations about what you did. I found myself telling my children some of the crazy things that I have done, which have changed the game for myself, them, and generations to come. And my daughter was asking me, so Mom, how did it feel? I was peeing my pants. But I did it anyway. I was quaking in my boots, but I did it anyway. And those things you do whilst you are quaking, and you manage to do anyway, those are the game changers in life. They really are. And so this morning, I come back to my title, Be Brave. Being brave requires being willing to lose. Accepting the possibility of a loss so that you might be in with the chance of a win. It's that simple. You accept to lose to be in with the chance to win. Are you willing to lose? Are you willing to lose your capital? Then you can invest it. And if you are willing to lose your capital when you invest it, you might be in with a chance to get a return. And sometimes the return on your investment blows your mind. Coming to Facebook was a willingness to lose my anonymity. I had been anonymous my entire life, and I was turning the camera on to lose my anonymity. There is a certain notion of respect that I stood to lose when I was here, especially given the type of positioning I want to do here. I don't want to do makeup and beautiful, and this is not a studio production. I wanted it to be a real life cutthroat reality show is what I wanted to do. And yeah, you stood the chance of any Tom, Dick and Harry writing whatever nonsense they want about you on the internet. You did. But the gains I've made running this platform, the influence I have built, Mulenga and Yusuf, the influence I have built, the businesses that I've managed to build, the returns that I've made on some of those investments, mind-blowing. The opportunities I have got as a result of just being willing to lose my dignity and anonymity to be here. There are so many people who wanted to do it or were not willing to sacrifice those two things, and so never did. Yeah. And you know, it's really funny to think about it. The very dignity people thought that I would lose when I was here, I probably have preserved it, and I have elevated my dignity some more being here. Being able to be here and be myself and operate on my terms has won me new respect from quite a lot of people. It has earned me a lot of respect for myself. It's earned respect for my children, things that I value. I have not even lost a fraction of what I anticipated I would lose. And what I have gained is indescribable. Really, you must be willing to lose in order to gain. Fundamental. If you are not willing to lose, forget about gaining. The Lord expects bravado for the big wins. Yeah. Playing it safe will not get you the big wins. Bravado is what will get you. Yeah. Anyway, it is a Monday morning. I needed to hear this message myself. Today is one of those days that I need to wear my big girl pants and be brave. And so this message is a reminder to myself. And I hope that sharing it here has served some of you as well. Let me wrap this up here. Let me wish you compliments of the day. Let me wish that ideas come to you and you have the bravado to execute on those ideas. The ideas come to you not randomly, you know. It is the universe's way of making sure that you are also given a chance to win. You are poor because you pass over opportunities repeatedly. That's what poor really is an acronym of. Passing over opportunities repeatedly. Why do you pass over opportunities repeatedly? You do so because you are afraid. You do so because you expect guarantees and retainers before you invest. It doesn't work that way. Anita, it does not work that way. So, I tell you today, verily, verily, I tell you, that if you want to win, you must be willing to lose. You must be willing to lose in order for you to win. If you don't pass over opportunities repeatedly, you will be one of the winners that we discuss. Fear is what stops you from taking opportunities. Fear is why you pass over opportunities repeatedly. That's why you are poor. The fear of losing your capital, the fear of losing the little bit you have, the fear of losing your dignity, the fear of passing over opportunities repeatedly is poor. That is something I would like to make a range of merchandise with, to remind all of us. I'm going to be making it to wear it for myself. And I hope that these constant reminders here for you also helps. Mika, good morning. Yakatri, you are very welcome. I hope that this broadcast serves you, that it becomes one of the things that helps you to understand what needs to be done in order to get where a lot of us dream of being. Assalamu alaikum. May the peace of the Lord be with you. Good morning.